The vast and varied galaxy was ruled by a careful distribution of power, upheld by treaties and alliances, with reciprocal disincentives. For generations, dominant coalitions and empires had created a situation that kept wars at bay. Advanced civilizations, on a scale depending on their technology dominance and large fleets, projected influence. Smaller species often sought safety through partnerships with the system. However, disputes ensured that no single power could rule unchallenged. The arrival of humanity on the interstellar stage was initially perceived as inconspicuous. A species that had just recently achieved faster-than-light travel. Human travelers were classified as minors, their presence undervalued by the larger galactic powers. Early human-alien interactions were mostly peaceful, marked by reciprocal trade agreements and knowledge exchanges. Humanity's flexibility and ingenuity were noted, but they were not seen as a threat to the galaxy's military establishment. Human powers were diligent, yet considered trivial. Beneath this modest exterior, humanity was growing. They colonized, expanding quickly, optimizing supply chains, and establishing a reputation for adaptability. Despite practical difficulties, their territories expanded, driven by innovations in technology. Though not well known, these advances were taking place at an unprecedented pace. Whispers began circulating about human communities that were fortified and ships that cruised their borders. Though unverified, these rumors suggested that humanity might be far better prepared for confrontation than anyone expected. Alien observers grew uneasy at humanity's calculated silence about their military capabilities, especially in contrast to the more established powers that frequently displayed their fleets as a show of strength. Humanity, however, kept a low profile, with diplomatic exchanges yielding only limited responses, focused more on trade than military discussion. Then came the turning point. A rogue extraterrestrial group discovered a human colony and considered it an easy target. The raiders, confident in their military superiority, believed they could easily overwhelm humanity. Their intelligence indicated a species unfamiliar with large-scale conflict, making them an ideal target. The raid was seen as a standard operation to acquire resources and establish supremacy over an unprepared species. But humanity's growth into disputed space had been matched by the implementation of advanced protection systems. Engineers had spent years developing countermeasures to standard alien tactics. What the raiders didn't anticipate was the human warship that awaited them. Despite its small size and modest appearance, the ship's systems came online in a highly coordinated sequence, demonstrating exceptional technological efficiency. The raiders' initial scans revealed no obvious signs of heavy weaponry or defense systems. They proceeded with their attack, believing the humans would quickly surrender. But when they tried to make contact, the human vessel did not comply. Instead, the ship powered up its systems with pinpoint accuracy, locking onto the raiders' ships and activating defense shields. The first strike was devastating. A barrage of energy weapons precisely aimed at vital systems incapacitated several of the raiders' ships in seconds. The raiders, stunned and confused, scrambled to understand what was happening. The human ship, instead of relying on brute force, used advanced electronic warfare to disrupt the raiders' targeting and communication systems, rendering their counterattacks useless. The battle that followed was nothing like the raiders had expected. What began as a routine raid quickly turned into a desperate fight for survival. The human ship displayed unparalleled flexibility and strategic foresight, turning the tide and crippling the raider fleet. As the raiders retreated, their fleet was in disarray, their confidence shattered. The damage was more than physical, it was psychological. The raiders' assumptions about humanity's technological and military capabilities were completely shattered. Humanity was no longer a minor player in the galaxy. They had proven themselves a force to be reckoned with, capable of defending themselves against superior fleets. News of the defeat spread rapidly throughout the galaxy. Empires that had long considered themselves dominant were forced to reconsider their understanding of humanity. Analysts scrambled to investigate the human warship, and what they found only added to their unease. Humanity's technology was efficient, mercilessly effective, and they had kept it hidden from prying eyes. As the galaxy's power structures reevaluated their position, humanity's quiet post-conflict behavior left more questions than answers. Diplomatic overtures were made, but humanity maintained a deliberate silence, adding to their mysterious reputation. The encounter marked the beginning of a new era in galactic politics. Humanity was no longer an unknown entity. They were a growing force, one that could reshape the galaxy's power dynamics. The raid that was meant to demonstrate superiority had instead delivered a stark warning. Humanity was a rising power that no one could afford to ignore. But others argued for diplomacy to prevent needless conflict. The divide revealed more. The galactic community's tensions and conflicts, caused by humanity's acts, unintentionally revealed at the center of this reaction a developing insight. Humanity functioned differently from most species found in other civilizations. Humanity demonstrated their power through grand manifestations of military might, while their approach was purposeful and subtle. They steered clear of needless conflict, concentrating instead on developing their competencies in a discreet and effective manner. Despite being unorthodox, this tactic had proven successful, and it departed from the more conventional powers of the galaxy, which were having trouble adjusting to the encounter. This also prompted inquiries about humanity's final objectives. Were they satisfied with protecting their area, or did they have aspirations that went beyond their present bounds? The absence of distinct responses stoked conjecture, with some worrying that the rise of humanity meant a new era of rivalry and strife. Others, however, recognized the possibility of collaboration that could change the political climate of the galaxy for the better. Humanity's response served as confirmation of both their plan as well as a reminder of the obstacles to come. They had demonstrated their capacity to protect themselves, but by doing so, they had captured the interest of abilities much superior to the raiders, who had triumphed. It was no longer a matter of whether humanity could live in the galaxy, but how they would traverse the intricate web of partnerships, conflicts, and expectations. Interstellar politics was defined by the galaxy's reaction to the worship of humanity, evidence of the unpredictable nature of advancement, which started as a one-time skirmish and became a moment of civilization's reckoning. Humanity's acts had upset the established order, compelling the galaxy to face the potential that power was no longer the sole purview of its most seasoned participants. In light of this insight, the future of the galaxy appeared more uncertain and greater than ever. In terms of dynamic disclosure of the military might of humanity, their capabilities caused reverberations throughout the galaxy, upsetting the delicate equilibrium of strength and fostering an environment of uncertainty. As the initial shock interaction cooled, the galaxy's most powerful civilization changed their focus to understanding humanity's intentions. The following time frame was one of close observation, conjecture, and recalibration, as the order of the galaxy considered the ramifications of the rise of humanity as a powerful force. The triumph of their warships was an opportunity to influence opinions. In a calculated move, they avoided demonstrating their ability by selecting restraint rather than letting the occasion speak for itself. This deliberate restraint transmitted an unambiguous message. Humanity wasn't looking for conflict. They weren't terrified of war, though. By remaining silent and avoiding overt manifestations of their acquired power, they created a sense of uncertainty that forced others to be cautious when approaching them. At the same time, humanity acknowledged the necessity of preparing for the difficulties that accompanied their newfound position. Their leaders prioritized strengthening their boundaries, moving forward with their technology, and bolstering their alliances, of which they were well aware. Their ascent had upended the conventional sequence, making them the focus of both opportunistic adversaries and exhausted rivals. Consequently, each action they took was meticulously calculated to balance power, using diplomacy to ensure that their behavior could not be interpreted as aggressive or careless. This strategy started to produce outcomes. As smaller, less powerful species tended to resonate with humanity's methods. For eons, humanity's cultures had suffered under the weight of the rigid power structures that muffled their voices, the earlier empires' supremacy. The capacity of humanity to confront these systems found resonance in species that had long felt oppressed, providing them with a possible ally in their pursuit of increased security and autonomy. These partnerships laid the foundation for a developing coalition that could challenge the established galactic hierarchies. In the interim, the ruling powers discovered they were in internal conflict. On one hand, the rise of humanity was considered a danger to the stability they had maintained for a long time. It was a reminder of their personal weaknesses and the requirement to adjust to a quickly altering galaxy. Attempts to collect intelligence on humanity increased, with varying outcomes. Some details about their technology, developments, and military tactics were shown, but the full extent of humanity's capabilities remained mysterious.